Good morning to Ashlea Griffin, who is the happy therapist. Thank you so much for joining me here on Bite Size Conversations.
Thank you for having me.
It's a very, very rainy day here in Bangalore, and I'm thinking, I really hope that my microphone is going to work well because it's loud. It's really, really loud. Now, I know you're only just 10 minutes down the road from me, Ash. So is it pouring down there?
No, but that's of concern now because after this, I'm doing a lighthouse walk.
Oh, well, you might need your gummies and your raincoat. Many years ago, like 40, we had a spa pool at our house, and my mum and I had these really cool little, they were like an umbrella but mini, and they had a little headband that went with them, so we could sit in our spa pool in the rain.
Well, that's what I might need for the boys, because I'm taking my twin boys up there, and I don't know if the downpour is going to impress them. But the umbrella things might.
Yeah, that's pretty fun. Well, you can just turn it into some fun mud splashing, puddle jumping adventure. Well, so Ash, today we're going to be talking about mindset and positivity and all the stuff that's been going on. I keep saying 18 months, but I know it's really been, a fair bit longer than that. And obviously before that, we had all kinds of other things going on as well. I've just found that I forgot to go live on the actual proper thing. So I'm just going to introduce us again. So this is Ashlea Griffin, the happy therapist, joining me today on Bite Size Conversations, talking about all things about positivity and mindset and emerging from what's been pretty tough, but also remembering that there's so many tough things coming up in our future too, because that's just the nature of life. And obviously before the pandemic, we had the fires where, often have drought issues. So here in Australia, we're kind of, well, in the world, we're always going to have things in our life, aren't we? They're going to come up, they're going to cause havoc in our business. So I thought that it would be wonderful to chat with you, Ash, because I know you just do incredible work on so many levels, but particularly around being positive and finding the joy. So thank you for joining us, and let's get stuck in. So Ash, what do you feel like is, firstly, when something like this happens, why do you think it is that we straight away go into a doom and gloom?
I think from judging by going by what my clients say and do, you'll notice different personalities and different traits will gravitate towards different emotions and what meaning they give, whether it be COVID or fires or whatnot. So people have kind of a go-to emotion. And so if you're used to being anxious and anxieties you go to, straight away you will have felt anxious about COVID and the unknown, and uncertainty also is a big factor that affects we all need a degree of certainty, but some people can cope with a certain level of uncertainty and others can't. So it's whether their go-to emotion is something like fear, angst, anger, guilt, sadness, or whether it's kind of playful, hopeful, optimistic, and so forth. So it's kind of ingrained in you, but you can bring consciousness and awareness to how you do actually respond to everything around you. And if you're not happy or satisfied, or if you're so sick of feeling a certain way, it doesn't mean that you have to be that way forever. You can actually reprogram your mind into actually looking at things that are positive, what you're grateful for, what you still have, what you can actually contribute and do for others, which would give you a different direction and a different focus in feeling better and more proactive in the event. If that did that all make sense?
It totally did, and thanks for clarifying that, because to be honest, when it all first started happening, I was in the States. I was over there for social media marketing world, and I saw, and my family was telling me back here in Australia hey, we've got some toilet paper issues. And I was thinking that was a bit of a joke, really. Like, what? And certainly over there was, there wasn't a mask wearing thing going on. There was kind of really nothing. There was a little bit of talk about it on news, but mostly it was about the elections and Trump and whatever. So I wasn't taking it too seriously until a moment when my daughter said, you might need to get another suitcase and bring it home full of toilet paper. I was like, this is ridiculous. So anyway, came home, I'm ready to throw myself back into work after learning, lots of amazing things. And then I suddenly had this little moment of, oh, goody, I get to have my girl home because she's not going to be going to school for a little while. And this is going to be quite fun. We're going to bunker down. And, for me, my business isn't affected because, hello, I'm on Zoom. Yes, there are aspects of it because obviously no more live events, et cetera, but I was a little bit excited, dare I say it.
Yeah.
So It's interesting now that you say that we're all already predisposed to a different type of reaction to things.
Totally. And the people that ran out and took all the toilet paper were very concerned and very uncertain. So they would be pretty much the ones that would be going and buying the toilet paper and stocking up and kind of looking after themselves, whereas the others who, again, that go to emotion, the ones that would gravitate more to, say, anger, would get angry at the toilet people, like the toilet paper people. The fearful ones would probably go, okay, now it's heightening my fear and I have to go out and buy more. And then there was still a few that were like, you know what, I'll find toilet paper somewhere.
Yeah. I love it. I really do.
So, yeah, it does. It definitely comes down to what people focus on and their the emotional state they tend to go to.
So do you feel like even when something's so terrible that you, like particularly with the fires, like that was just horrific, and it was horrific watching it, and it was horrific in my house where we had to have all the windows shut and there was ash flying around us. And I didn't feel particularly worried with exactly where we were, but I certainly was worried with what would potentially, be happening to people nearby. And like it was honestly, as you know yourself, it was just horrendous. But also still, what we did is we don't really watch too much news on that kind of thing, etc. So I feel like in a way we're just trying to stay as positive as we can and not get wound up, is that maybe the word, or absorb too much of what's being putting out there. What do you think about that?
Again, like the fires would be a perfect example of you go to emotion. So some people were just devastated and they were stuck. Some people could not help themselves and had to go into survival mode and just, do whatever they needed to do. We on the outskirts, I guess it's easier to talk about because we're not in there, because the people that were in it were surviving, like we're going into that survival mode and would do anything to protect themselves and the property. So you're going into flight or fright kind of thing. Us on the outskirts and looking in, there would be an element of fear. Is it coming? But if that's you go to emotion, you would have felt fear. Mine, I know, is helping people and trying to contribute. So when the fires came, yes, I was devastated for people losing things, but I do remember back then putting a post up just going, if anyone needs a room, like not that we've got a mansion, but like if anyone needs a room, come. And that then enticed, I got messages from people in Sydney who weren't up here obviously, and they messaged me saying, hey, we've just seen you post offering beds and rooms for people in need, and we want to give you money for them if they want, if you find people in need. So it actually was a nice flow-on effect in that it touched their go-to emotion where they could still contribute and help and do whatnot. Other people would gravitate again to their home emotion of anger and be angry at the government, angry at, remember Scott Morrison took off to Hawaii, so like So their focus and that the emotion will take over and look at what they can find evidence for and gather up in order to feel their go-to emotion.
Yeah, wow. So do you remember the book from when you were young called Chicken Licken or something along that line? It was all about the sky falling in.
Yeah, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Was that called Chicken Licken? Oh, Henny Kenny.
And Lucy Fox or something like that. I must pull that one out again because it was definitely, Julie, who's in the chat, and said, yes, I remember Henny Penny. I can't remember it totally, but as you've been talking, that book is just flooding back to me. And it's about that doom and gloom, but then being able to see a different way.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Put that one up. So, Ash, in terms of trying to find ways to look at it differently, I know you said that we're programmed to view things a certain way. And I definitely know myself that many years ago, I was definitely programmed slightly differently, where I would definitely say I was definitely a drama queen, without a doubt. And I enjoyed the drama of things. As I have evolved, I was going to say aged, but really that's nothing to do with it. It's the evolving of myself. I've definitely learned that actually I don't enjoy the drama so much. I only enjoy a bit of drama, a fun drama. I don't enjoy the other drama. So finding ways to be calm and at peace through things. And definitely, I don't even have to think about it. That's, it's just how it's all happened now, which is great. So do you feel like that's something that's needs to be worked at? Or do you think that, sort of share with me about how we can change that way of looking at things?
I feel that especially I'm like you, Kylie, where in my life I've been 30 kilos overweight. I've been in 25 years ago this awful toxic abusive relationship, and so I know and that was its own drama cycle and fed the own negative beliefs as well as negative emotions that would come up and not serve me. And I think that people thrive on that drama cycle and they will keep going, and if they like the drama, they're not ready to change, or they don't want to change. They're happy in the drama cycle because they're actually getting fed personal needs by being dramatic, because it brings attention and awareness to them. People console them. They're getting their, say, 6 core needs, which I know you and I have covered before, which are variety, certainty, feeling significant, having connection, growth, and contribution. So the dramatic people aren't ready to change, but those who do go through the cycle and then go, you know what, I am so tired of feeling anxious, or I'm so tired of being an angry person, or I'm so tired of fearing or being stressed or overwhelmed or negative. And when because I actually heard myself talk and think, and I'm like, you know what, I'm done with me. I'm actually getting bored of hearing myself and I'm making a change. And I think that you can change when you've reached that point of there's got to be something better in life. How can I serve me and how can I serve others? And again, like you said before, it comes with you evolving as a person and not being stuck in a state that restricts you from growing and evolving, changing and contributing.
I just think it's quite fascinating, isn't it, about deciding when is that time, when is enough enough, and it's time for something different. Now, Maureen, who's just said something in the chat here, I think is really interesting. She said, one analyst I heard said that we were all in certain stages of grieving, and some people got locked in the denial and anger stages of grieving. So that's super, super interesting. And I've had a lot of experience with grief. I've done a lot of study on grief. Many years ago, I started preparing to create a documentary on grief and did a lot of research around that. So that's really fascinating that it's definitely that getting locked in those different stages or at one particular stage. stage.
Yeah.
So that's a fascinating take on it.
Grief actually was my turning point to self-sabotage. I didn't understand grief when I very first went through it in my early 20s. So I think I was quite well-rounded and grounded, and could see where the future was going, and felt my potential and felt worthy and all of this. And when I went through a grieving, it changed my world, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And just like Maureen said, anger is a part of that cycle, and I was so stuck in anger towards myself, in frustration and not being able to overcome. And I ended up really getting lost in that anger and self-sabotaging me, to the point where I did choose a boyfriend who wasn't nice to me and who was quite violent physically and emotionally. And like, I feel like if you don't heal from that grief, anger is always a secondary emotion. So underneath anger is sadness, irritation, frustration, embarrassment, resentment. There's so much underneath anger, and grief's there as well.
So interesting. So what about in terms of now the emerging from it all? So I've been super fascinated to see how different people are dealing with it. Obviously, it's been a bit of a mess and a bit of a schmozzle the way it's rolling out, but there's lots and lots of jobs available. There's people needing to employ all over the show. There's new opportunities emerging. And, clearly there's a lot of problems around as well. But what do you think is the way that people can get that positive mindset, or find that positive mindset and move forward?
I definitely think if you see this as a fresh start, then I would suggest a fresh start in body, mind and spirit. And the more, because I think at home and in lockdown, well, you see it on Facebook. I've put on COVID kilos, or they've sat in that same anger at whether it's the government or anti-vaxxers or the rollout or whatever. People's emotions are heightened, and I think because space is coming, the more we can move with grace within that space, and have understanding and accept that people have different values, and it brings about a peace within, and the peace within will allow you to nurture and nourish yourself with a new kind of you can go out and do your exercise, you can start eating well, you can, like you said, there's jobs hopefully available to everyone, and it's a fresh start in terms of just finding a different structure.
I love how you keep reiterating that fresh start. I think that's really good, because I think that's so similar to a spring clean or whatever it is that you can take on and get going with it. Yeah. So, and I love a spring clean. I'm all for that. And in fact, I like to do it as a seasonal clean at the beginning of each season, because, hey, let's mix it up. Let's get ready and, off we go. But a fresh start is so beautiful, because, trying to find a way to leave that stuff behind. And I've seen a lot of people talking on Facebook that are, friends in Melbourne and stuff. Then they had quite a different approach to the coming out of lockdown than Sydney did, I noticed, where the Melbourne ones, quite a few of them were quite stressed. And one company I even saw saying, we're not even going to be asking our staff to come back to work till January, because we know the next couple of months, while you're slowly starting to emerge, is going to be quite stressful. And I was like, wow, I hadn't looked at it from that perspective at all. I just assumed you'd be like, whoa, it's time to look at the sky and go, yay, I'm alive. But clearly not everybody's feeling like that, which was interesting. But what an amazing employer that she was going to give her staff that time to adjust. But definitely interesting. And so when you said about grace and kindness, that's so important, because I, for one, am so triggered by what people write on Facebook, and not so much on Instagram, but definitely on Facebook. And I try my hardest to just scroll on by, scroll on by and not get involved, etc. But every time I see a post or create a post myself, that to remind me that actually kindness is the best way forward, because everybody's dealing with their own stuff.
Totally.
So who are we to judge what is going on for anyone?
No, that's right. And like I said before, there's people's value system is different, as well as their emotional states. And so what we think of, yippee, we're out, let's party, or we're free. Other people are quite timid and going, oh, I can't, I don't remember this. Especially, I guess, the Melbourne people have copped it a lot longer, as if, they were stuck in the first round as well as the second. So you can change, and I think it will take time. So for that employer to give that grace around that time, just so that they can find their feet again and, restart, I think it's amazing. But being kind to you as well as kind to others is the fresh start, start eating well, start exercising because you can, there's no excuses, not doing home stuff, priming and meditation, which we've talked about once before. So all of that will help just recenter and come from a nice truth within, rather than getting fed what's on the outside. And also, I might just add that if you are in if your go-to emotion is kind of like fear, stress, overwhelm, anxiety, that don't really serve you and they exhaust you, turn off social media and the TV. All that feeds you is more negative, which is going to heighten that state. All right. So the more you can just tune out and tune in instead, then you'll find that you're in a much healthier way, body, mind, and spirit.
That's just, I'm so glad that you've said that and reminded us all of that. And, for some, that'll be fresh, new information, which is actually turn it off. Just because it's there doesn't mean you need to be absorbing it, watching it, looking at it, getting involved in it. And, maybe it's time to just defriend some people that trigger you. Maybe it's time to, or just unfollow them so that it's not overwhelming you all the time. And I know in business, we try to be on social media a lot. We try to do all that kind of stuff. But if it's not serving you and if it's just causing you stress and anxiety, then you shouldn't be there.
Get it out. Yeah.
Take a little break, a little digital detox is a good thing. Go for a walk instead. I think that's always a good one. I like the idea of, for me with a puppy, I can just whip her up to the park, have a quick toilet break, come back, and I'm in a completely different state and ready to go again. Another fresh start.
Beautiful. And that's it. Not everyone's an animal person, but animals bring so much joy because they don't have the rest of the baggage. They've just got unconditional love. They want to have fun. They want to exercise. They want to eat only what they need to, and they live a happy life. So be like a dog.
I love that. I think that's so wonderful. I'd like to be more like our puppy, that's for sure. When I walk inside, excuse me, after my day in the office, and that puppy is so happy to see me. Because my daughter's 18 now, she's not like running up to me and putting her arms around my legs and going, yippee, you're home. She's obviously happy to see me, which is very special, but not like the puppy. It's a very special thing.
Yeah.
I do love a joyful greeting. I can't deny that. So, Ash, I love that when you said be kind to you. So you said about health and getting some exercise, et cetera, et cetera. What about for our mindset? Now, you mentioned before about priming and meditation. I'm a big fan of that. I do it in the program with you, which we can mention in a few moments. But Ash, can you let people know what priming and meditation is for those that don't know?
Priming is setting yourself up and conditioning you to feel and be in a state that's going to serve you. So, and it doesn't take long at all. And I got this when I went to a UPW in Tony Robbins, which I know you've been to as well, Kylie. I wish I got live though, like you did. I got the virtual, but yeah, like he says, if you don't prime yourself, something else will. And he talked about these studies where, and this will give you an example of about how we're primed because we already have a certain perception of what we see or feel or think we are. And so they gave medical students at a uni exam papers, like one control group, one not, and the question at the start, they filled out their name and everything, and then and date of birth and whatnot. And one bit had, what nationality are you? And in Western, like America, Australia, it is shown statistically that Asians do better academically than Australians and Americans. And that's probably because they value again, it comes back to values. A new education system where they've travelled from to get educated and whatnot, and the families are encouraging education, whereas we kind of party. and so just that one question ticking whether you're Australian, American, Asian, if that question was there, the American women and men did worse than when there was no question asked what nationality you were. So just ticking a box of kind of set them up to go, oh, you know, I'm not going to do as well in this compared to the other exam that they sat where there was no question and they all did better. So a tiny piece of information can set you up, put you back, make you feel afraid, make you feel not good enough, and it kind of sets the tone to what you do in that behaviour and the outcome. Another one was researchers were going through and someone just out in the street got some people to hold either iced coffee or warm coffee. And so then they just said, can you hold my coffee, and picked up their handbag, shuffled through it, and then took it and said thank you. And then those people wandered off, but little did they know there was someone else, 20 metres away that then said, hey, can you tell me what you think about this photo or painting or whatever it was? And the people that held the iced coffee said it's really cold and abstract and blah, blah, blah. And the people that held the warm coffee were statistically more significant in saying it's warm and inviting and I like it. So the difference in that was significant to the point where just holding a different cup and the temperature set them up to how they perceive the rest of the day, kind of thing.
Wow, fascinating. So what does that tell us then? What, aside from priming and meditation, should we be having a warm drink to start our day?
It depends if you like warm or cold. So again, it's on you. So if you feel like you need, like, I guess warmth is more nurturing and loving, and I guess it kind of connects you and relaxes you. So if you're in a state where you need warmth and nurturing and relaxed, then I would encourage like some warmth. And then, but if you need to go get, the cold's going to kind of like set you up, recharge you and like get you going. So because I think also studies have shown the colder the water, the more calories you burn.
Yes, and you're invigorated.
Yeah. So it depends what state you want to feel or what state you want to get out of. So, and then the priming meditation kind of just sets you up to again realign with you and what you want to do, rather than having the news or social media dictate how you're going to feel and how you respond. If you've already set yourself up internally, you won't respond as much as someone else maybe who hasn't primed or meditated.
So I think that it's just got such a big part to how we see our day, start our day. And I've loved doing that with you for a number of weeks now in the morning. And when I went to UPW, as you mentioned a couple of years ago, so, when it was live back in 2019 in Sydney, and I came home and I was determined to be priming every day. So I found one of Tony Robbins's priming sessions on YouTube, and I got into it for not long enough to make it a habit. That's the problem, isn't it? How many days is it again before something becomes a habit?
Yeah, I think I haven't got the numbers with me, but it's something like for lucky people it can be around 20, I'm guessing 26 or something like that, but then there's like another leap to about 60 or 70, and then it can take like 280. So everyone's like, I don't want to take 280 days, but again, it's how strong you want to change. If you've got enough leverage in your life to go, I am done feeling like this, thinking like this, being in this state, being unhealthy, being a bitch to my husband, whatever it is, and you acknowledge and drop the ego, and again come into honesty with yourself and what's around you, and there's the above the line, below the line, which if you're acting above the line, it's taking ownership, it's accountability, and it's responsibility for everything in your life. Because even if life's been unkind or hasn't been fair, it's how you approach it, as to how you're going to get a better outcome, kind of thing. So above the line is taking ownership, responsibility, and accountability, and so that's proactive behavior. And under the line is the drama cycle. How I said the dramatic people, they won't be ready to grow and evolve and heal and see a different thing because they're stuck in like that cycle, because they might be getting attention or focus and connection that way. But below the line behaviors are blaming, excuses, and just not growing. So just denial, in that there's even another way, kind of thing. But there's always another way. Like if you
that's going to be our line of the day, I think. There's always another way. And fresh start and kindness, kindness to me, kindness to you. I think I've got some really beautiful things out of chatting with you today, Ash. I'm so grateful for your time this morning. And can you let everybody know how they can connect with you, and what do you offer? How do you work with people?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram as the Happy Therapist Australia, and the Facebook page is Happy Therapist Australia as well. There is a website, thehappytherapist.com.au. So, or you can definitely message me directly if you like. But I offer women's groups called Weightless, and they run for 4 weeks, and it's around shifting emotional as well as physical weight. So you get food plans, recipes, you get exercise classes, because my past is personal training. You get your priming and meditation. You get group coaching once a week, which is for your mindset and understanding how our brains and our emotions work and how you can bring them together to serve you better. And you also get your one-on-one sessions, which involve weight loss hypnosis, or if you don't want to lose weight and you're okay, confidence hypnosis. You get one-on-one therapy sessions, which can really get into any trauma, any addictions, any bad habits, any limiting beliefs. And there's always something to work on. We can always move forward and evolve. So that's my women's groups, which are beautiful, and I love them. They're so great. And then I do offer one-on-ones for people that would just prefer one-on-one therapy, and that's done on Zoom, or sometimes at my place if you prefer face-to-face.
And you're in Byron Bay, aren't you, Ash?
Yeah.
Beautiful. And I saw on Facebook that you have a new offering for couples.
We did. We connected. I offered a free, because I've had a lot of couples coming to me, which has been so beautiful. And my new favorite thing I'm delving into is masculine and feminine energy, which is really intriguing and awesome. But I just posted the other night and we had such a fun time. It was just a free workshop, which I'm so happy, and I think I'm going to promote again, because I got so much enjoyment out of sharing, and I know that the couples each did benefit from what they heard, and you can see in their faces every time I said something, they would be like, oh yeah, that's me, you know.
I love it.
And again, I think because every couple's different, but there's a foundation where we can all work from and acknowledge, drop the ego, leave that behind, and walk in your truth so that you connect again with yourself and serve the other person and love them in the best possible way. So there's lots of stuff coming up.
It sounds like a lot of fun. That's what I think is so clever about what you do, is that you're really getting into some big, heavy, deep topics and situations and dealing with trauma and all of that, but you do it in such an incredibly what do I say, like just a beautiful, abundant, joyful way, which I just think is just a little bit of magic. It's, you know, the essence of you, Ash. So
yeah, I like to make them laugh as well as cry.
That's a good approach. That's a really good approach.
Crying's a great thing. Like, I'm so all about getting it out and releasing, you know, like so often we feel like we can't or shouldn't release, and I feel like if we can release those tears and just again find your truth through the heaviness of those tears, I found, especially in the weightless journey, once people start releasing emotional baggage that they've carried for so long, their body weight drops.
Amazing.
Like they're just carrying, you know, kilos of what they've been feeling rather than what they've eaten.
Well, I have definitely enjoyed working with you, and obviously still working with you, and I love what I learned with you. And as you said, there's always more that you can work on, and always more to learn, and always more ways to evolve, which is, you know, something wonderful about being human. So yeah. And I'm really intrigued by the above the line and the below the line. I'm going to have a little think more on that one, which is
so the above the line's proactive behavior. And the other just causes stagnation and is worked in a different negative way.
And from a business sense, it so makes sense for that as well, because if you're, you know, as a business owner, if you're above the line, you're ready, you're seeing, you know, where you can grow and looking for new ways. And, you know, I'm a big believer in every coach needs a coach, and go find someone that you can work with that you really resonate with, as opposed to those below the line just going, oh, there's no opportunities for growth. Social media is too hard. It's too hard updating my website. It's too hard being all the things and doing all the things. Yeah, it's an interesting one. So
that's right. The above the line, I lost my word, but above the line is proactive and below the line is reactive, because you're reacting to something like social media, which might cause overwhelm, instead of responding in a way where it's like, how can I just serve me and not worry about other people? Because the people that you're worrying about are probably not worrying about you.
Yeah, that's a very, very good one as well, isn't that?
Just have your intention set so that you can do what you want to do, what you want to give, and what you want to be, and you will grow from there rather than having what other people are thinking, doing, and being. Like, just
brilliant.
Into you.
I love it. I love it so much. Well, thank you so much, Ash, for joining me at Bite Size Conversations. I'm Kylie Mowbray-Allen from Hello Media, and I've been chatting with Ashlea Griffin, who is the Happy Therapist. So go and explore what she does, and you definitely will find life a little more joyful when you're able to work with Ash. So thanks so much, Ash. Thank you everyone for listening, and I look forward to connecting with you again very soon. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.